Now, there's been a lot of commentary over the past few days about pit bulls, whether they should be banned, not banned. I know the SPCA also indicating that quite a number of individuals, I think it was over 50 if I'm not mistaken, will ask Dr Sizwe Kupelo from the Sizwe Kupelo Foundation about that very shortly, where, there are those that are in favour of the ban. We're also joined by Lins Rautenbach, who is the Public Relations Officer at the Pitbull Federation of South Africa, and Karin, Pienaar, who's a lecturer in animal behaviour at the Centre of Applied Pet Ethology. And we're also requested the Department of Agriculture, Land Reform and Rural Development for their participation in this discussion, but we're informed that none of their veterinarians are available. Let's start with you, Dr Kupelo. Thank you very much for joining us this morning. Why are you in favour of a ban as opposed to strict regulations, if I may? All right, we don't seem to have Dr Kupelo at this particular stage. I want to bring in Lins. Perhaps we could start with you. What is the stance of your organisation regarding this proposed ban?
We're opposed to a ban. The reason we're opposed to a ban is one just has to look at the increase in maulings in the UK and Australia and in some states in America where they are banned. Banning them is not going to deter people from owning these dogs. All you're going to do is you're going to either shift ownership from pit bulls to another breed of dog who's going to cause carnage, or you're just going to have this runaway, uncontrolled ownership of pit bulls. We are for strict regulations. We are for the enforcement of bylaws. We are really for licensing of dogs. We want it to become really difficult for you to own a power breed dog, and not just a pit bull. We are talking about dogs like bull terriers, staffies, rottweilers, German shepherds, dobermans, boer bulls. These dogs cause massive damage to people. You know, one of the things that a lot of people on social media like to say is, but a Jack Russell bites, but a Chihuahua bites. The difference is when these dogs bite, you have a few holes, you might get 2 or 3 stitches. When a pit bull bites you or any power breed bites you, it is massive tissue damage, it's death, it's carnage. So for us, we don't want the average person to own these dogs. And also to own these dogs, we would like it to become a case of to own them.
Sorry, Lins,
you will need to
if I
jump
could just
through
come
hoops.
in there. You said you don't want the average person to own these dogs. What do you mean by that? Because, of course, I think a lot of the commentary now is about, the deaths that we have seen. Of course, other organizations are calling for a complete ban. What kind of regulations are you talking about here? And when you say it shouldn't be owned by the ordinary Joe Soap, what are you talking about? What do you mean?
Well, every breed of dog in existence exists for a reason. And there are dogs who exist for certain things. Now, your guardians, like your boer bulls, your German shepherds, your rottweilers, these dogs were bred for guarding and in some cases herding. The pit bull terrier was bred for one thing, and that was dog fighting. They descended from the bull baiting dogs, but the pit bull in its modern format existed for dog fighting. Now, to own an American pit bull terrier is a lot of responsibility. Let's say the dog isn't human aggressive, but is dog aggressive. You would need to know how to protect people around you's animals. And a lot of things, especially in the rural communities and in the townships, we often hear of these dogs escaping, and they might not bite people, but they're attacking other people's dogs, they're attacking livestock. Now, any power breed dog requires a special owner. You need to be able to control these dogs, which means you need to be dedicated to early and ongoing socialization, which is not dogs being friendly with the world, but dogs being taught life skills and how to cope in society. They also require a lot of training in the sense that you and your dog need to work together. You need to know how to control this dog, and this dog does need to be in control and have boundaries. Yeah. Your property is another thing. You know, these, especially a pit bull, some of these dogs can clear a 2-meter wall. So your property needs to be properly secured. They need to be kept in. You cannot have any power breed that can kill a person escaping. So if you look at what it takes to own a power breed dog, the average dog owner wants a pet. You want a dog to live in your garden or live in your home, be part of your family. Owning a power breed dog is a lot more than that. Owning a power breed dog comes with responsibility.
Yeah, Lins, we want to bring in Karin as well. Karin, I mean, what is it about the behavior of pit bulls, that we need to comprehend? Do you agree with what Lins is saying, that, they shouldn't necessarily be family dogs, but they're there for a particular reason, and there should be some kind of regulation?
Absolutely. I agree with Lins 100%. Pit Bull Terriers have the capacity to be really nice, loving dogs, but they also have the capacity to inflict a huge amount of damage under the right circumstances. They're not inherently bad dogs. They're dogs that were bred for a very specific purpose, and under the right circumstances, with the right triggers, that purpose will come to the forefront, irrespective of how loved the dog is, irrespective of how well treated the dog is. And that is where, like Lynn said, and I agree completely, regular people shouldn't own Pit Bull Terriers. They are dogs that require extensive knowledge. If you want to have one, you need to understand what you're dealing with. And you need to understand that your Pit Bull Terrier is not going to be the same as a Golden Retriever, and no amount of love can turn him into a Golden Retriever. You have to be completely aware of the fact that if you have a dog like this, it is your responsibility to keep the dog and everyone else around this dog safe. And people become complacent because they think that if they socialize their dog and they train him, that dog is never going to aggress. And like I said, unfortunately, you have got a genetic predisposition that this dog has been bred for over lots of time. And in the right circumstances, with the right stimuli, the dog is likely to exhibit their particular breed-specific characteristics. And that's where the problems come in, because people think that because they love their dogs, because their dogs are well cared for, that the dog will never do something like that. And unfortunately, it's that amount of, I don't want to use the word denial, but it's probably a good word. It's comfortable to think that if I love my dog is never going to do something. And it's only dogs that are abused, or dogs that are treated poorly, or dogs that have been teased that have the capacity to do that. And that is definitely not the case.
All right, we also have some calls coming through. I think it's Malume in Pretoria who was joining us on the line. Malume, thank you so much for engaging with us on the program. What is your comments?
Thank you, Crisilda. I'm actually phoning on behalf of my cousin. His wife was beaten by 4 pit bulls on the 5th of November on her way to work.
And then are these pit bulls that were owned by someone in the community there?
Yes. He tells me that they came out of the yard. It's owned by a white person in Mountain View. And they mauled her until she was assisted by neighbors. And ultimately she was admitted in Kalafong Hospital.
Is she okay?
She's not. She was severely beaten.
Malume, thank you so much. We really appreciate your call on that. And perhaps this would be the appropriate time to bring in Dr. Kupelo, who's with the Sizwe Kupelo Foundation. They've been calling or are in favour of a ban as opposed to strict regulations. Dr. Kupelo, thank you very much indeed for your time here on the program. You're calling for a complete ban as opposed to strict regulations. We've just heard on the line there Malume from Pretoria talking about, one of his family members being mauled by, I think he said 4 pit bulls?
Yes, indeed. We are calling for a complete ban. We want declassification of the breed. And with the number of cases that are being reported, even those that were never reported, further substantiate our call. We want government to come in and put a stop to the ongoing carnage. We want our children to feel free on the streets, on the parks. We want neighbors not to be threatened by this monster dog. We also want to save those who own the breed. We are saying to them there is an alternative. Look for other power breeds if you're concerned about the safety of your family. This dog is a problem. Now, if you're keeping it in order to protect your family from crime, look at other alternatives. So we're appealing to government, we're appealing to everyone. We're also very grateful with the support that we've received from South Africans across the country. The signatures that we've requested through the petition are just over 100,000, which clearly illustrate that indeed we've raised an issue that has been bothering so many South Africans.
We've had, Mr. Kupelo, word from other organizations, and I hope you were listening in. There are more in favor of strict regulations, saying that the pit bull, has always been, the kind of animal or dog which has a specific use. There is dog fighting and a number of other. It's not a family pet. So don't you think strict regulations would be something that, would assist? And what kind of strict regulation would you think could assist in this problem?
The experts will say that the breed was never meant to be human aggressive. But the reality is that we are threatened by the breed and something has to be done.